The sun has left and forgotten me. It's dark, I cannot see.
Your stories don't define you, but how you tell them will. Hi, I'm Sarah Elkins, your host and chief storymaker at Elkins Consulting. My primary goal in every person I serve through my business is to encourage healthy self-reflection, to guide them toward internal and external self-awareness. I believe that's the key to reducing loneliness and division in our communities and to making people happier at work, more engaged, and more productive. I do this as a Gallup certified StrengthsFinder coach with individuals and teams, as a keynote speaker on topics around storytelling, and as a storytelling and public speaking trainer. In today's episode, I'm sharing a story about an insight I had recently that I hope will inspire you to take one small step toward taking better care of yourself. Total distance, 2 miles. Average pace, 24 minutes, 25 seconds. Split pace, 22 minutes, 12 seconds. I started using an app called Map My Fitness a few years ago to track my hikes. It was originally because I joined a team for a fitness challenge with friends, but I continued to use it because I liked seeing the routes I took tracked for time and distance. Using it means I can take a quick look at my past routes and, based on how much time I have on any given day, select one that works. But a couple of months ago, I noticed my time was slowly inching up. A mile used to take me about 24 minutes on the ascension of my hike, and closer to 20 on my way back down. And now, my average ascension was closer to 26 or 27 minutes, even when I thought I was walking at my normal pace. I also noticed that I'd pick up my backpack with my laptop and a few other items, and it was suddenly feeling a lot heavier to me, or I just felt weak picking it up. I attributed my brain fog and word loss to menopause, but it was getting worse, and these other symptoms were troubling. So I made an appointment with my nurse practitioner, and she ordered blood work to see if there was something obvious going on. The labs came back, and she was concerned about the iron deficiency she saw in the labs. We talked through a combination of a supplement and natural ways to get me more iron in my diet and more iron absorbed by adding vitamin C. So yes, my hikes had slowed down noticeably, and now I had a potential answer for it. I know now that my body sends messages to my brain in subtle and not so subtle ways. Like when I've pushed myself too hard and I end up with a 2-day migraine, or when I'm living in a state of urgency and my essential tremors get a lot more noticeable. This was no exception. My body was telling me to take a break on blood donation, something I do regularly, and to pay closer attention to my body's signals like weakness, headaches, and brain fog. Things that I would normally be a little more dismissive of. When I heard my hike tracker tell me my first mile took so long, I started hiking faster to make up time for mile 2. But then I had a moment of clarity. This is what hustle looks like. Losing track of why I'm doing something. Focusing far too much energy on doing something without stopping to ensure that what I'm doing fits my values, my needs, and how I want to live my life day to day. I stopped on top of a hill and looked around. I remembered seeing the wildflower markers our Parks and Rec department put out this time of year, along with a wildflower hike map. And as I made my way home, I stopped at those markers to read them and gaze at the flowers, the plants, the trees, and the grasses that I missed on my way up because I was in a hurry. Memories of wildflower hikes in the past came back to me, And I started thinking about some of my favorite names of flowers and plants I've learned over the years, thanks to those markers. And some of them are perfect descriptions of what the plant looks like. The rabbitfoot crazyweed, for instance. The stems are fuzzy, and just before the flower opens, the little fuzzy bud looks just like a tiny rabbit's foot. The arrowleaf balsam root, one look at those large arrow-shaped leaves, and you know what you're seeing in the yellow blanket of flowers in the meadows this time of year. Or the miner's candle, and I mean miner like gold miner because we're in Montana. A thick green stem with a bubble of small white flowers at the top. And I'd be remiss to leave out the fuzzy-tongued penstemon or the cushion milkvetch. Check out my Instagram post with images of these and more, or if you're listening on my website, you'll see images embedded in the show notes for this episode. Now, I've been sharing a lot about my thoughts on the labels we're given, the ones we give ourselves, the ones we earn, and the ones we wear as signals about who we are. And I love that these flowers are named in a way that helps me identify them through curiosity, wonder, and awe. I don't see these labels as ways to judge the flowers, the plants, or even the weeds. They're simply a way to demonstrate my curiosity and my wonder, my appreciation for the natural world around me. In some ways, our labels do define us. I'm a mother, a Jewish woman, a Montana hiker and dog lover, a musician, a storyteller. But what makes things interesting and joyful to me is knowing that a single label can't define me. I'm complicated, and so are you. To add even more dimension, our labels can change over time. I was once a mother of young boys, an identity and label I treasured and sometimes miss. I was once a professional consultant in Washington, D.C., working crazy hours and traveling while serving big agencies like the NSA, the World Bank, and the Federal Reserve. That part of my identity, that label, felt big and important. But it fell away when I moved to Montana. It really didn't take long for me to realize I didn't miss it like I thought I would. Which brings me back to this idea of the hustle mentality, losing track of the why behind my hard work. I hike almost daily because it feeds all aspects of my health, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. I'm breathing the fresh air, getting my heart rate up, I'm clearing my head and processing difficult and joyful experiences. I'm exploring my sense of awe in these beautiful mountain trails and generating gratitude and connection to my natural world. What I realized about losing track of the why is that I hadn't taken time recently to define success for myself and my business. It's the meaning, the potential impact, the meaningful conversations and the individual aha moments that my clients gather and apply that brings me great satisfaction. And yes, that's how I can define success in my business. It's measurable in the feedback I receive, like what I heard the other day. Sarah, our session 2 years ago continues to resonate with me. My relationship with my teenagers and my husband are stronger because of our work together. It's measurable in the personal referrals and introductions I receive regularly. Almost 90% of my business comes from personal recommendations. A few years ago, I interviewed Bob Berg for this podcast. He co-authored one of the best-selling books of our time, The Go-Giver, and I think of that interview often. In it, he reminded me that my goal can't be income. It can't be closing a deal or getting a contract signed. My goal is to serve my clients, to guide them in self-awareness and self-reflection. And when I do that well, the reward is the income I generate by reaching my goal. So listeners, now it's your turn. Will you take time right now or very soon to define success for yourself without attaching money or income to that definition? What is one thing you'll do today, tomorrow, and the next day to reach toward that definition of success and the labels you choose for yourself and demonstrate through your work? And how will you feed your own needs, your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, so that you have the energy, enthusiasm, and capacity to live your definition of success? Before I stop recording, a shout out to my friend Kevin Strauss, who introduced me to this framework to understand my health in multiple dimensions. Please don't hesitate to check out his app called Uchi, UCHI, and follow him on LinkedIn. There are links to his LinkedIn and his Uchi app in the show notes associated with this episode at elkinsconsulting.com. Thank you for listening.
You'll find that life is still worthwhile if you just smile.